It's Optimus Prime! Again! Didn't we just cover this one? Oh, this one's new. I guess we'll find out how. Hello everybody, Sparkster1701 here. We're glad to be back here on the channel, and we're taking a look at some more of the Legacy United figures. And later in the month we'll round it out with some of the Age of the Primes figures. So I figured we'd kick this off by showing off the latest version of G1 Optimus Prime. And of course, this one is meant to invoke the look of the classic toy from 1984. And in and itself, it does a fairly decent job of it. It is supposedly a little bit smaller than the original toy. And of course, it has no chrome parts. But it does have one feature on it that should be pointed out to the fans, and that there are rubber tires on this toy. We have not had rubber tires on Transformers for ages as part of Hasbro's cost cutting, so this is a treat. We got to admit it. This is a treat to have. So if you're having trouble finding a Generation 1 Prime, yeah, right. This is supposedly to be a decent substitute. Or so they want us to believe. Let's take a look now at Prime's accessories. We'll start with the one most of the fans are going to love. He comes with an Energon axe. As you can see, it has a little knob in it, so basically you just plug it into his hand instead of it replacing his hand. But it does fit in there pretty snugly, so we can't argue with that. Next up, he comes with his trademark ionic blaster. Actually, he comes with two of them. This one, the first one here, this one is meant to invoke the look of the 1984 toy. And it does a fairly decent job. I mean, it doesn't have a pistol grip here in the back of it, since that was always a wild thing with the original Prime's gun, but it's a nice rendition. And then, of course, back here on his back, we've got a more modern version of the Ionic Blaster. And again, it's also not bad. Some of you may have noticed there's a lot of sheen on these guns. Actually, they were molded in clear plastic and then they were painted black, so it gives them a rather interesting look, especially when I flick it towards the camera and then drop it on the floor. Well, the interesting one thing about it is that while he can hold the guns anywhere like that, he can only hold the axe in his hand. So you got to be careful with how you want to display and store him so you don't lose the pieces. Now we'll take a look at Optimus's articulation. And for that, like we can see, we can turn his head from left to right, and it is on a ball joint, so it will look up and down. That's a definite improvement on the G1. His arms can be raised out to the sides, about so far. And the arms can be rotated at the shoulder, all the way around. You can bend his arm at the elbow 90 degrees, and he does have a swivel at the bicep. You can twist him a bit at his hips, so Prime can get some dance moves going. When we shift the wheels out of the way, you can spread Prime's legs apart into a full splits. So that can come in handy for posing. You do have a good thigh cut. You can raise his leg at the hip 90 degrees, and you can bend his leg at the knee 90 degrees. So all in all, you do get some pretty good options for displaying this figure. Alright, now to transform Optimus. It's a relatively simple process, but I will warn you on this, part of it is kind of makes me nervous. We start by going to his arms, and you start to fold the hand section down. This is the part that makes me nervous because this is very thin plastic and it does not shift very easily. So that's something you definitely have to be careful with. Don't use a lot, try to not use a lot of force. That one doesn't want to go out far enough, but at any rate, once you have it out like that, you will rotate it to the side to put the fist going in, and then you can close it up and you'll see it forms the truck headlights. And it's kind of on the other one, if you can get it out far enough, you can get it to rotate like that, but I wouldn't recommend it because that's going to eventually stress warp the plastic. So that part of the transformation bothers me a bit. Alright, at any rate, when we've done that, we turn Prime around, open up this section of his back, fold the head in, and then close it right back up. Bring his arms up into the 90-degree bent elbow, and then you'll fold his arms at the shoulders to his back. There's a little slot here on the back of his shoulders, and that should connect to that spot on his back. Then they recommend you come down here to his legs, fold the feet up, and then press the legs together. And then once you've got them together, come around here to the front and you can fold the arms into the sides. Of course, before that, make sure the wheels are snug against his hip. And then you'll shift the legs at the hip so they come up. You'll see here on his thigh there is a small hole right there near my thumbnail, and it will line up with a groove on his arms so that you can secure him in, and that should hold him tight. And then there we have it. Optimus transforms into his classic truck mode, which is based on a Freightliner cab-over-engine style of truck. And let's face it, those of us that saw Bumblebee, we probably was thrilled at the end there when we see Bumblebee in his Camaro mode go drive by a red Freightliner cab-over-engine truck. A definite sign that that was indeed Optimus Prime. Now, of course, when you've got him in this mode, you've got weapon storage. The axe can be attached to the truck's fifth wheel. Just press it down. Now, make sure that that his legs are all totally snug together. Then you can press it in. And then these holes that were on his legs, you can press in the guns. And then you've got a way there to store his weapons. He rolls fairly good on these rubber tires. It's not the greatest, but it does do the job. Now, some of you out there are probably going, "Hey, Sparkster, I'd like a trailer for him. How can I get one?" Well, he wasn't sold with a trailer, but he was designed to be compatible with a lot of the Optimus Prime trailers that have been released. So I can imagine if this figure gets pretty popular, a lot of the trailers on the secondary market are going to go like hotcakes. But I got 3 of them, and we'll display them with all 3. We'll start first with the classic Generation 1 trailer. And it does fit on there pretty well. The only problem is that since this Prime is, like I said earlier, considerably smaller than the original toy, it does look a bit off. Probably the best one, as I've seen on the Transformer Wiki, is the Earthrise trailer. It connects in there, and it's not bad. At least looks better in scale. Again, it's not a perfect display, but it looks a little bit better. And of course, if the G1 trailer was ridiculous to look at, we have here the Studio 86 trailer. And that looks even more comically larger. But again, as I said, they all do fit. And they do stay on there pretty snugly. So, hats off to the designers at Hasbro and Takara for this. This was a good idea. So now we get down to my thoughts. What do I think of it? All in all, I do like this version of Prime. It is a nice one that will display well. I do like the option for the trailers. That is a nice feature. And like I said, I do expect a lot of the trailers to start being grabbed up on the secondary market because of it. But overall, this toy isn't bad. The only real criticism, like I said, was the way they set up to change his hands into the headlights. That plastic is very thin, and unfortunately, with how stiff it is on a first play with, it does tend to feel like you're going to break it. So, definitely not for those with a nervous disposition. But all in all, still a very good toy. And that's my review of the Legacy United version of Generation 1 Optimus Prime. I hope you all enjoyed it. Please do remember that if you love the content we feature on this channel, I would appreciate a like, share, comment, and subscribe. This is Sparkster1701 saying I'll catch you all later.